More vehicle accidents happen during right turns than any other turning maneuver. Operators usually have right turn accidents because of basic mistakes. The operator didn't block off the right side of their vehicle to make sure no other vehicle could enter the space between their vehicle and parked cars or the curb. In situations where it isn't possible to block off the right side of the vehicle, the operator didn't check the right side mirror at the proper time, or the mirror wasn't set correctly to enable danger areas to be visible. The operator didn't look left, right, left prior to executing the right-hand turn. Here are some basic rules to follow when making right turns.
Signal for your turn early, at least 150 feet before the intersection if possible. Stop behind the crosswalk line, then slowly move forward while checking for hazards. Align your vehicle parallel to, and when possible, up to 4 feet from the curb. Before making your turn, look to the right to make sure your path is clear. Look left, right, then left again, and rock and roll to clear your blind spots before starting your turning maneuver. Yield the right-of-way to other traffic and look ahead on either side and in your mirrors for pedestrians and bicyclists. Pay special attention to the right rear of your vehicle.
This is an especially dangerous area for pedestrians or bicyclists.
Continue to check your mirrors as you move into the turn and walk your vehicle at 3 to 5 miles per hour through the turn.
Never cross the center line of the street you are turning from. If necessary, stop during your turn to yield to oncoming traffic. Scan continuously during the turn and rock and roll in your seat to clear blind spots. Remember, constantly monitor your mirrors to check off tracking, tail swing, and clearance for vehicles parked on your right.
Start to turn when you reach your turning point. When turning, remember to use the push-pull method when you turn your steering wheel. If vehicles are parked close to the corner on the street you're entering, you'll need to move further into the intersection before starting to turn. Look left, right, then left again, and rock and roll in your seat midway through the turn, and check your mirrors. Begin to straighten out your wheels when the right-hand corner of your vehicle is 4 feet from the curb or from the edge of parked cars. Remember, in addition to clearing the last parked vehicle on the street you're turning from, you'll also need to clear the curb. Your wheels shouldn't cross the center line when turning into a wide street. However, if you're turning into a narrow street, your front wheels may cross that center line. If you must cross it, do so with extreme care. Start to turn when you reach your turning point. If vehicles are parked close to the corner on the street you're entering, you'll need to move further into the intersection before starting to turn. Look left, right, then left again, and rock and roll in your seat midway through the turn, and check your mirrors. Begin to straighten out your wheels when the right-hand corner of your vehicle is 4 feet from the curb or from the edge of parked cars. Remember, in addition to clearing the last parked vehicle on the street you're turning from, you'll also need to clear the curb. Your wheels shouldn't cross the center line when turning into a wide street. However, if you're turning into a narrow street, your front wheels may cross that center line. If you must cross it, do so with extreme care.
Always try to avoid making a right turn at a red light. This helps eliminate a possible accident while making the turn. If you do need to make a right turn on a red, come to a complete stop and look left, right, then left again, and rock and roll before starting your turn. Begin to straighten your wheels when the front right-hand corner of your vehicle enters the lane you are turning into. If the street you're turning into has a sharp 90-degree corner, you may have to angle out more than 4 feet before beginning your turn. If this is the case, follow this procedure.
Signal 150 feet before the intersection. Angle in until your vehicle is only 1 foot from the curb. Starting approximately 25 feet before the corner where you're turning, begin to angle your vehicle out until you're 4 to 10 feet from the curb. Check to your left for traffic before you start to angle out. Before you begin your turn, make sure to check your right mirror and that you are certain a vehicle is not trying to squeeze into the space to your right. Make sure you take no more space to your left than absolutely necessary to safely negotiate your turn. Come to a stop at the crosswalk, then slowly and carefully move forward as you scan left, right, and left again for potential hazards. Check your mirrors as well for hazards and clearance. Make sure you turn no more than 5 miles per hour. Start to turn when you reach your turning point, which will be when the midpoint of the bus or rear wheels, as seen from the right side mirror, lines up with the outer edge of the parked car on the street you're turning from. Check your right mirror to make sure your rear wheels clear the curb. Constantly check your mirrors to monitor your tail swing and possible off-tracking. Begin to straighten your wheels when the front right-hand corner of your vehicle is 4 feet from the curb.
There's plenty to think about and constantly monitor when you're making a right turn. Follow these guidelines will help you make your turns safely every time.
Welcome to the ADA sensitivity video. As professional operators, we have a lot of responsibilities that go beyond safely driving our vehicle. One of the most important responsibilities is the care and service we provide to our passengers. To a person who uses a wheelchair or other mobility device, a trained and empathetic driver makes a particularly large difference in their quality of life. The ADA requires the delivery of good customer service to individuals with disabilities. Each transit provider shall ensure that personnel are trained to proficiency as appropriate to their duties, so that they operate vehicles and equipment safely and properly assist and treat individuals with disabilities who use the service in a courteous and respectful way, with appropriate attention to the differences among individuals with disabilities. 49 CFR 37.173. In this video, we will discuss communication, providing good customer service to customers with disabilities, putting the person first, and the "How may I assist you" concept. Effective communication will help reduce confusion and is a key part of your success as a professional operator. Communication will enable us to do two things. One, it will obtain information that allows us to safely assist the customer without violating independence. And two, help us develop a trust factor between the professional operator and the customer. If every action is communicated and approved by the customer, the possibility of misinterpretation will be limited. Communication with the passenger also allows you to gather information such as, is it the customer's first time using the service? Be sure to keep your conversations professional. Here are some communication tips to use. Greet passengers and inform them of your bus route and destination. Be willing to repeat the information and break information down into smaller pieces. Speak directly to the customer, not to their companion. Speak clearly with a normal tone and speed unless the customer requests otherwise. You should never ask what the person's disability is. It's not appropriate. If they speak about it on their own, then respond politely and be courteous. If the communication becomes challenging, maintain your professionalism and remember these tips. Continue to create a welcoming environment. Treat adults as adults. Use simple words and short sentences. Repeat information if needed. Illustrate or visually demonstrate what you're asking. If you do not understand, don't pretend to understand. Ask another way. Do not use sarcasm or exaggeration. And have patience. Providing good customer service to your customers with disabilities is the right thing to do, but is also a requirement from the ADA. Here are 10 tips to follow. Be patient, establish eye contact, and approach the passenger with a smile. Treat customers with disabilities with courtesy and respect. Use person-first language. Persons with disabilities are customers just like everybody else. Give customers with disabilities the same information and choices that you give other customers. Never make assumptions about your customer's physical or intellectual abilities. Never hesitate to ask a person's preference. Ask customers if they need assistance. Do not assume. If they say yes, ask them how you may assist. Take no for an answer if they don't want assistance. Do not touch customers or their mobility devices without their permission. If you are asked to repeat or write what you said, do so calmly and pleasantly. If you don't understand what the passenger is saying, just ask them to repeat, again, calmly and pleasantly. Be patient and allow customers to take their time. Respond in a calm, professional manner. What does it mean to put the person first? A person who has a disability is still a person just like anyone else. All of our passengers are people first. When you say disabled person, you are focused on the disability first. But when you say person with a disability, you're now focused on the person first. When we think about a disability, we think about someone that is not able to do something, and that's not always true. When you look at the word disabled, if you knock off the D on both ends, you're left with is able. People with disabilities can still do many things, and we must remember to always put the person first. Next, let's talk about how may I assist you. Don't assume anything and never hesitate to ask a person's preferences. Always ask how may I assist you or how can I guide you. Let the passenger decide what kind of assistance they would like. Here are some things to consider. Introduce yourself and ask, how may I assist you? Or how can I guide you? Pay attention to what the passenger says and act on what they want. Take no for an answer if they don't want assistance. A passenger should never have to ask for assistance, because the operator should always ask first. A mobility device is considered part of a person's body and should not be touched or moved without getting permission first. Once you get permission, let them know what you're about to do before you do it. When securing the posy belt, let them know and ask them to lift their arms. They have the right to say no to the posy belt under ADA rules. Remember to trigger your drive cam camera and document if needed. Finally, don't assume you know best and always ask what type of assistance you can offer. Listen close, be respectful, and follow these tips. Be polite. Be patient. Communicate properly and make sure you both understand each other. Use proper handling etiquette and procedures, especially if they're blind and have a service animal. If they have a speech impairment, be patient and tend to their specific needs. For people using a mobility device, it is vital to remember how to correctly fasten wheelchair securements in an accessible van or bus. As a driver or attendant, you have received the hands-on instruction on how to achieve effective securement. Never allow yourself to take a shortcut. If you become distracted, take a second and pause, and start the process all over again from the top to ensure you went through the entire procedure. Do a quick check to ensure it's fastened appropriately. We hope you found this information helpful. Our jobs face us with different challenges every day, and if we perform as the professionals we are, we will always provide safe transportation and excellent customer service. Welcome to the Mobility Device Securement video. For people with a mobility device, it is vital to remember how to correctly fasten securements in an accessible van or bus to mitigate the risk of a tip-over or a passenger injury. As a professional operator, you are responsible for the safe boarding, securement, transport, and deboarding of people who use mobility devices. Let's watch a video that gives samples of proper securement and improper securement. As you are servicing your customers, keep in mind that securing a passenger in their mobility device requires you to be in their personal space. Be very respectful when securing the lap and shoulder belts, and always ask for permission before you touch the mobility device, begin to move or secure it. There should be 2 securement tie-downs for both the front and rear of the chair that will help you utilize the 4-down and 3-around tie-down procedure. Also remember that not every mobility device that passengers use will be the same. However, all have similar characteristics and must be tied down and securely fastened. The 4-down, 3-around tie-down procedure indicates that you must place the wheelchair or scooter in a proper location in the vehicle where appropriate tie-downs can be anchored with brakes locked. The 4-down indicates that you must always ensure a full 4-point tie-down when securing the mobility device within the bus and strive for a 45-degree tie-down angle when possible. You will have 2 securement straps for both the front and rear of the mobility device. Wheelchairs will be strapped down on all 4 corners with 4 securement straps. The 3-around refers to the seatbelt securement of the passengers while sitting in the chair. Effective securement of the passenger increases his or her safety. Both lap and shoulder belts are necessary for proper passenger safety. Make sure the belt is not twisted and the lower section rests comfortably across the hip area and the shoulder belt is set properly over the shoulder. Communicate every action beforehand. Sudden movements can be alarming for any customer. Speak clearly with a normal tone and speed unless the customer requests otherwise. If you are asked to repeat or write what you said, do so calmly and pleasantly. Three-wheel mobility devices and power scooters have other factors you will need to consider. As a professional operator, ask him or her to transfer to a seat and the empty scooter should be secured. However, in accordance with the ADA, if the passenger wishes to ride in the scooter, you must allow him or her to do so. Although this is permissible under the ADA, explain to the customer that it's not safe to do so, and you will be happy to help assist them to the seat for their safety. If they ask to stay in their scooter, the 4-down, 3-around securement procedure should be used. Power scooters will be strapped down with 2 straps in the rear at a 45-degree angle, and the front will utilize a webbing loop with 2 straps to achieve a 4-point tie-down. Again, if they choose to stay in the mobility device, you will secure the passenger with a lap belt and shoulder harness. Here are the guidelines to follow for the 4-down, 3-around securement procedure. Allow the passenger to position themselves onto the securement block. Unless the area is too tight for them to maneuver, they are unable or ask for assistance. Center the mobility device between the floor attachments and set the brakes/power down the mobility device. Attach front and rear securement straps, 2 in the front and 2 in the rear. Attach the straps as high on the chair as possible, but no higher than the seat. The ideal angle for securement straps is 45 degrees out from the chair frame. If using a cam locking system, attach the front straps first to the solid junction of the wheelchair frame. Rear straps should be attached to the solid junction of the frame, just below the seat level on a basic wheelchair. Rear belts should be parallel with the rear wheels or slightly flared out. Front belts should flare out slightly for lateral stability. Route each strap in a straight line. Do not bend it around a wheel or other object. Do not attach the securement straps to the wheels or any removable parts of the device. For example, armrests or footrests. Do not attach securement straps to the folding cross brace of a standard wheelchair or armrest brackets. Use the webbing loop straps provided to you to secure devices where there is not an obvious place to set the hook around. Tighten all straps, but do not over-tighten. A ratchet-type tightener could easily bend a standard wheelchair frame. Always test the mobility device to be sure you cannot move it more than 2 inches in any direction. When in doubt, always contact dispatch or your supervisor.
To limit the chance of being distracted while loading the passenger, limit your conversation with the passenger. You'll still need to be courteous and polite, but try to stay focused on proper securement of the mobility device. Here are a few tips to remember while securing a mobility device. Never stop to do something else. Stay focused and don't let your mind wander. Keep conversations to a minimum. Collect the fare before or after you secure the passenger. Do not get complacent. Be thorough. If you get distracted, start over. When in doubt, contact dispatch.
If a passenger refuses to allow application of a restraint device, the driver shall record and document refusals by calling them into dispatch. Also, activate the DriveCam event recorder and verbally state the passenger's refusal of the restraint device. If you have any questions or are in doubt, contact dispatch. Remember, as the professional operator, never take a shortcut. If you become distracted, take a second and pause, and start the process over again from the top to ensure you went through the entire procedure. Do a quick check to ensure it is fastened appropriately. Before you get back in your driver's seat, double check that your passenger is secure. The safety of our passengers is the most critical aspect of our work, and the securing of wheelchairs and other mobility devices on our buses are some of the most important activities we perform on a daily basis. We need to make sure we are securing mobility devices and mitigating the risk of a passenger injury.
Strains and sprains are painful injuries to muscles, tendons, and ligaments. They are common workplace and sports injuries that are usually caused by three things: overuse, improper technique, and lack of conditioning. Here's how they occur. Sprains are caused when a joint is forced to move into an unnatural position. For example, twisting your ankle causes a sprain to the ligaments around the ankle as the joint is overstretched out of position. Strains can occur when muscles are pulled, twisted, or torn. When someone tries to lift something before warming up the muscle, the sudden pull on a cold muscle can cause a strain. So how do we avoid strains and sprains? Wear protective footwear to reduce stress on your ankle, foot, and leg joints. Make sure your shoes fit your feet properly. Avoid high-heeled shoes. The higher the heel, the more susceptible you are to a sprain. Avoid activities for which you have not trained. Always warm up and stretch before doing work, exercise, or sports. Do a proper warm-up. Stretch and warm up your muscles before lifting. Slowly move the joints around and get them warmed up. Have good flexibility by gently stretching muscles and joints before subjecting them to stress. Stack your joints. Properly align your arm and your legs. Twisting your limbs under load causes strains and sprains. When you feel pain, lay off. Pain is your body's way of telling you that it needs to rest. Remind yourself to always use good posture. Poor posture strains your lower back muscles. Lift according to good lifting rules, like never lift and twist. Decrease the distance you must stretch to lift a heavy object. Get help when it might be too heavy. And finally, know your body's limits and stick to them. Thanks for watching.
You're a human being. Congratulations. That means you're also a vertebrate, which means you have a spine or backbone. That's good, because if you didn't, you'd be a jellyfish or a spider or a snail. Yuck is right. There are many reasons your body needs a strong and healthy backbone, like standing up, for instance, or exercising. Dancing without a back would be, well, you get the idea. The truth is, your back is such an important part of you. We're going to show you how to take care of it with correct posture, learning the right way to lift, and the proper way to exercise and stretch your back. Ready? Maintaining good posture throughout your day does more than help keep your back healthy. It also helps you reduce fatigue, eliminate strains, lessen stress on joints and ligaments, and keeps you from feeling tired and sore throughout your day. When standing, your shoulders should be back, not rounded. Visualize keeping your ears centered over your shoulders, which should be straight over your hips. Don't you feel better already? It's also a good idea not to stand in one place too long. Take a quick walk around every 30 minutes or so to stretch and get your circulation going. When you do have to stand in the same place, rest one of your feet on a raised surface, 6 inches or more, and switch feet every once in a while. When bent over a workspace for more than a few minutes, take time to stand up straight, bend backwards, and stretch out those stiffening muscles in your neck and back. That's better, right? When you sit down, your feet should be flat on the floor, or supported on a raised platform if that's more comfortable. If you work at a computer, make sure the monitor is raised to eye level and your chair and keyboard are adjusted so that you don't have to lean forward to work. And just like when you're standing, you shouldn't sit down too long without getting up and moving around at least once every 30 minutes. At night, your back will thank you if you sleep on a firm mattress and put a pillow between your legs when you sleep on your side. See? Okay, so far we've learned that good posture means standing up straight and balanced, sitting with both feet on the floor, and monitor at eye level. Move around at least every 30 minutes. Sitting with back straight and eyes level. And sleep at night on a firm mattress with a pillow between your legs if you sleep on your side. All easy to do, right? Now, let's work a little harder and learn the best way to lift safely. Not lift us safe, lift safely. First, never reach for whatever you want to lift. move closer to it before attempting to lift it. Then, keep the object as close to you as possible. Hug it to your body. Be sure to bend at your knees, never at your waist when picking something up. Let your legs do most of the work, pushing your body up slowly and smoothly. Never twist your body to change direction when carrying something heavy. Instead, turn with your feet and proceed with small steps. And don't try to lift too much or carry too big a load. Instead, ask a buddy to help you carry the load. Finally, it's easier on your back to push an object rather than pull on it. For more safe lifting tips and techniques, watch the proper lifting video at safemt.com. While maintaining a healthy posture and practicing safe lifting techniques are important, you can also help protect your back with some simple stretching and basic exercises. Not so fast, Arnold. A few of the best stretches to loosen muscles and increase flexibility include the cat pose. With both knees and hands on a mat, your head down and your spine lifted up toward the ceiling. Then, transition into the dog pose by slowly straightening your back and continuing until it is bent toward the floor. Do this a few times, holding for 5 seconds in each position. Your back will thank you, and your neighbors will have something to talk about. Still stretching? Good for you! While you're down there, let's do some quick exercises. First, lie on your back with your knees bent and feet flat on the floor. Using both hands, pull one knee up. Press it to your chest and hold it for 15 seconds. Then do the same with the other knee. Repeat this several times. Now, with your knees still bent, both feet flat, and your shoulders firmly on the floor, roll your knees to one side and hold. Then roll them to the other side and hold. Good job! Now you're ready to get back to your day. Sorry. Okay, let's recap. You're only human, so you have a spine, which you need to keep happy and healthy. That means you should practice proper posture whether standing, sitting, or sleeping. Learn to lift heavy things safely. And get into the daily habit of stretching and exercising your back.
Recently, the CDC issued updated guidance around the types of masks and respirators, clarifying that people can choose to use respirators such as N95s and KN95s. The Biden administration also announced its plan to distribute 400 million N95 masks for free, which will make it available for anyone to use. Here's what you should know. N95 respirators are regulated by both the FDA, if marketed for medical purposes, and the CDC's National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. It is a respiratory protective device designed to achieve a very close facial fit and a very efficient filtration of airborne particles. K95 respirators are similar to N95s, but are made to meet Chinese standards. If you choose to use a KN95, it is recommended to find one that has a minimum filtration efficiency of 95% or higher. Appendix D to Section 1910.134 states, respirators are an effective method of protection against designated hazards when properly selected and worn. Respirator use is encouraged even when exposures are below the exposure limit to provide an additional level of comfort and protection for workers. However, if a respirator is used improperly or not kept clean, the respirator itself can become a hazard to the worker. Sometimes, workers may wear respirators to avoid exposures to hazards, even if the amount of the hazardous substance does not exceed the limits set by OSHA standards. If your employer provides respirators for your voluntary use, or if you provide your own respirator, you need to take certain precautions to be sure that the respirator itself does not present a hazard. Here are a few tips. Read and heed all the instructions provided by the manufacturer on use, maintenance, cleaning, and care, and warnings regarding the respirator's limitations. Choose respirators certified for use to protect against the contaminants of concern. NIOSH, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, certifies respirators. A label or statement of certification should appear on the respirator or respirator packaging. It will tell you what the respirator is designed for and how much it will protect you. Do not wear your respirator in atmospheres containing contaminants for which your respirator is not designed to protect against. For example, a respirator designed to filter dust particles will not protect you against gases, vapors, or very small solid particles of fumes or smoke. Keep track of your respirator so you do not mistakenly use someone else's respirator. So if you obtain one of these masks, please make sure you know how to properly wear it. If you are unsure or need help, please do not hesitate to contact your supervisor or safety manager for proper instructions.